No, sir, I ain't got time. Ooh. Ooh.
All right, you all know what it is. Back with
Yeah, that I
episode,
lost my mind. My bad.
back with episode number 57. What's really going on? Before we get started, be sure to follow us on all of our social media and be sure to subscribe to the podcast. That includes on Twitter and Instagram at WRGO Pod, YouTube, where this video will be at What's Really Going On. Be sure to subscribe on SoundCloud, Spotify. Lord, I keep fucking this up. SoundCloud,
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, goddamn anything you can find a podcast on. What's really going on that bit?
We back. So since we played Monica, Henry, do you want to offer any beginning thoughts on who won the best?
Did y'all watch that version? No, I'm just playing. It was pretty cool. It was funny to watch. In my opinion, round one, hands down, Monica. Like no questions asked.
I like how you're breaking this down round by round, and like I
mean, it was 2 rounds, right? From my understanding. And then round 2, where Brandy was going first, or Monica was going first. Monica tried to like put some. Anyway, Brandy was like keeping up, like she was gaining some, saying some momentum. But overall, I definitely think Monica had like a better catalog. However, Brandy is a better vocalist. That's just my opinion.
Boom. Mackenzie, any thoughts, or are we just gonna get right into it?
I went to sleep, so I did not watch it, but I'm sad I missed it because all of the memes, all the Twitter stuff was hilarious.
YouTube.
Yeah, what?
Watch it on YouTube.
Anybody trying?
No, I could have watched it. I fell asleep, like I was not on it, but it looked fun. So.
All right, boom. So now we're gonna get into some food for thought. Started out on a little bit of a sad note. So as everyone knows by now, last Friday, Chadwick Boseman passed away of stage 4 colon cancer, which he was originally diagnosed with in 2016. Since his diagnosis, that was unknown to many people, most in the industry. He continued to star in a host of roles, including Marshall, Avengers, Endgame, 21 Bridges, and most notably Black Panther. It is worth noting that when I was doing some research,
he got another movie coming out soon too.
Boom. So his final film will be Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which is based on an August Wilson play, the same play that was the same playwright who did Fences. The film is produced by Denzel Washington and stars Chadwick Boseman and Viola Davis. It will be distributed through Netflix. The date is unaware, but that's something to look out for. And as we always have to flag, Boseman graduated from Howard in 2000 with a Bachelor of Fine Arts in directing. So what are your all kind of thoughts about his legacy and his passing? Because, I mean, obviously it was a shock to all of us because we just didn't know.
Well, one, I didn't know the movie was going to be distributed through Netflix, so that's exciting. Mm-hmm. But I was really sick to my stomach. Like, it was just, and I remember because it was so crazy. Last Friday, I don't know about everybody else, but last Friday, like just last week was just a lot. And I was so ready for like the weekend and just for that week to be over. And I feel like the evil plot twist was Friday evening, right before you go to bed, because it was like 10 o'clock at night. Yeah, and he passed away. And I after that, I was like, I can't even go to sleep. I had to mute his name. His name is still muted on Twitter because just like every time I see that picture that his estate posted, and I will say I'm so happy that his family had the chance to announce it before like anybody else, did. And it was like a beautiful way to like present it. That picture is great of him, but like now every time I see it, every time I see like any clip of him and just like seeing him being praised as Black Panther, I'm just so happy we really did that as a culture, like really like praise that movie how we did now, looking back on it. I really will say I'm only 24, so I don't really know, but I will say like he's one of the few people I think before he passed, he was able to get his flowers while he was alive. And I'm just so happy that happened. But I don't know. I'm still bothered by it.
What do you think, Noah?
No, I mean, I just think it's interesting that he was actually the person who was, because I think even before Black Panther, kind of the running joke about him was that, he can only do like a biopic, like he can only play
Yeah.
kind of another figure, which I think is important in his legacy, in that he did play all of these great men throughout our history and throughout our culture, and to kind of have the tip of that be Black Panther. I mean, that's kind of everything. Like, for you to play James Brown, for you to play Jackie Robinson and Marshall, like the range of that alone is incredible, but then to be the Black superhero. And I think that the film, like Mackenzie said, the film already got its flowers now, like when it came out, but now that film is about to be like a staple. I mean, it already is a staple of Black culture, but now that he's passed, I think we hold stuff higher when people pass away, unfortunately. So now the film is going to be like, that needs to be like the new Baby Boy, like on BET, like every week.
Yeah.
You talking about that new Baby Boy?
I don't
You
care. But
funny.
that's how the movie should be. Like, that should be like our cultural thing.
Yeah.
I feel you. I think you kind of like hit the nail on the head with his legacy, but it's like two like sub conversations we can have with this conversation, particularly one being like the re-releasing of one of the films into theaters, and then two, how they'll continue the story of Black Panther. But like what you directly hit the nail on the head as far as his legacy, I think that like the trajectory of his like career, you like you said, like he was able to embody all these great legends, and then he became the Black superhero. So that kind of like speaks to it. It's the fact that like he embodied James Brown, who like literally a lot of music wouldn't exist without this man. Then you Jackie Robinson, he literally integrated the, what I'm saying, National Baseball League. Then you have Marshall, who literally wrote like the like roads to how one would even attempt to prevail in a legal system, the catalyst system at that. And then he portrayed the Black Panther, the most or powerful, strongest Black man or whatever. So, like, you know what I'm saying? It just speaks to me because each role for me, because I did like a chat with like deep dive watch, because like Mackenzie said, like it was just odd because on Friday was the March on Washington, whatever. So I was in like high spirits kind of. And then I found that out and it just took the wind out of my body because
Yeah.
like he spoke at my commencement or whatnot, and it was just like I was maybe 6 feet away from him, not even being funny with the times, but like literally, like literally close enough to touch him, and it's just like dang, like any other celebrities, like yeah, I mean this like it's all like sad whatever, but this like my body felt it, like it's like wait, like nah, like he's too young. He got so much. Like this, no, like no. And then the fact that he was like making all of these legendary, because I was like that man can act. He really truly does have talent. Um,
And
yeah, he made.
I think
What?
it's just like I just feel like Black people have just been losing like these people just all year, and it was just like, and it's never like just from the start of Kobe to like Pop Smoke, and just like, and then the coronavirus taking like more Black people than white people. It just
People
was
losing
like,
their jobs.
yeah, people lose their jobs, and it's just like, oh my gosh, not our Black
Damn. Yeah.
superhero died,
And I think
and
that's what like made it hurt.
yeah, and was silently suffering. Like, and it's just like, oh
Well,
my.
not can we rephrase that, because I think even on our when we announced it on Instagram and whatnot, to me, and I said it on my own Instagram, I hope and pray he was happy and at peace. I don't think he was
Oh yes,
like
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I was just
suffering.
saying like suffering, like he's mad, but it's just like you have
you're going through cancer. Yeah.
yeah, like
Right,
that.
right. That part. But
But what do I think he was miserable or like? I don't. He never. I mean, I don't know him, but he didn't seem like that. But like he was
right,
suffering from
That
that.
was right. Yeah.
You
like
know,
if y'all really listen to his commencement speech,
yeah.
I don't want to say this, but to me personally, when I went back and listened to it, It seemed like that was his like, you know how you just kind of acknowledge yourself in like in that moment
The
of
speech
okay.
then though, the speech then was good, and that's why I had to mute him though. I mean, not mute him, but mute his name because I really thought he was a good speech giver before all of this, but now like watching it, it's like okay, so it
The
comes
words mean so
yeah,
much
it
more.
means so much more, and I feel like he knew that maybe his time wasn't gonna be long,
That's exactly
and
what I
that's
mean.
just like that's too much. So I just like yeah.
No, that's hard. And I think one thing that I think needs to be said is that I think he was like a very he did give it forward, and I think like he did try to like help. Like I know, like I've heard like he's given like scholarships to like Howard students who are also in like fine arts, and I think like
Yeah.
that needs to be said. And then I think that like Howard as a school just needs to honor him as much as possible, whether like
Well, not only that, like he protesting at Harvard Fine Arts to be recognized as a college and not a
yeah,
school.
Yeah.
they need to
And
read.
they told him when he got his little honorary doctorate at my commencement 2018, they was gonna do that. And through the grapevines, I did hear that, you know what I'm saying, they had plans and action to make that happen. However, COVID slowed that down. So renaming it and then recognizing the other college would be
Honestly, yeah,
great.
read his name over the school. That does have a nice ring to it.
Yeah,
Like
I
Yeah,
think
no big,
Chadwick Boseman or Boseman
yeah,
Fine Arts
Bozeman's a college fine arts.
visual arts.
That's
What?
that's a nice like.
There you
I mean,
go.
he's the black superhero, the Black Panther.
yeah.
Like that's a good
Definitely.
look.
And like, let's talk about the New York Post, how they tried to shade him a little bit, talking about he would have been a Hollywood whatever.
You're
No.
so bad about that.
I mean that's the
Yeah,
New
I
York
am
Post.
very upset because you kind of
That's
like
and I exactly know.
Post.
As soon
It's
as
the
you said, I was
Post.
like, "This the New
It's
York
the
Post." I don't
Post.
know what
It's the
you.
Post.
That's
Yeah.
like you being
I
mad
mean,
at
maybe
TMZ.
well, that's what I'm saying.
Stupid.
Mackenzie explained that to me the other day that the Post is known for that type of thing. I guess I wasn't aware of that, but
That's like
I
the
very
like
much
Fox News to have like a good headline about black people.
Yeah, yeah.
right. So if it was Fox News, I wouldn't be surprised. But the New York Post, I didn't know that
They're
they
the
were
same.
like that. So it was just when I seen that, I was like, so y'all really gonna try to take away from this man legacy? Like, did y'all watch his films, bro? Like the man really like. And people like it was this like little video going around on social media saying like, and I didn't like how it was phrased, but it was like there'll be no Chadwick without Denzel because Denzel
You helped
paid for
him to go
like
to Oxford. Yeah, I mean to go to London.
right,
Yeah.
right. So you know what I'm saying. I definitely think he was like you know what I'm saying on that how we try to regard like Denzel and Will Smith. It was Denzel than Chadwick.
Boom. So a little 2020 campaign update since the election. I think last time I checked is 61 days away, fast approaching. So as we just talked about, Verzuz VP or a potential VP candidate Kamala
Oh
Harris.
shit, VP, don't do that. It is what it is. Just vote.
So she appeared on Monday's Verzuz between Brandy and Monica that had at 1.2 million viewers. Harris encouraged viewers to vote in November, saying, "I just want to thank you, ladies, you queens, you stars. Thank you for doing this for when we all vote. You both used your voice in such a powerful way, and an extension of our voices is our vote." Michelle Obama was also encouraging voters to vote in the comments. So I guess my kind of question is, we have talked about both of you all have talked about how Kamala can engage people who are
No,
hard.
we said Joe Biden, and that's why I was looking at the camera like that. Mackenzie, why you roll your eyes?
I'm just laughing because when I see her, and this is so I told you at the beginning, I did not watch it. I seen the tweets like, oh, her team is working overtime. I saw the tweets, I didn't see what they was talking about. I was just assuming she was in the comments like everybody else. So next morning, I see the little clip how she perfectly got her Howard shirt framed. And my sisters, my queens. I was just like, girl, you.
So now you mad, Mackenzie? This is what I was saying, Noah.
We talked about this last episode, though.
Henry,
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
Henry, can you please just acknowledge? You don't think it was just like?
I hear that, Mackenzie.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's like I see what you're doing. Good job. I mean, yeah,
but Noah didn't. Somebody said it because me and Mackenzie were on this whole. They need to do more, right?
And then now what you're saying, now you're saying that now they're doing more and I'm still not satisfied. That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
I'm not
Why you mad?
satisfied, but it was just
what you
like,
mad for?
hi, my queens. I'm just so really happy. You know, it just fun. And I'm just like,
But I really
roll the clip,
honestly,
roll
truly,
the next song.
Is Kamala not a fan of them? Like, what? Kamala is probably like a Monica and Brady fan, or either one of them fans.
It wasn't. It's like, yes, I see why you working overtime. I know why. We all know why you're here. I get it. It's just funny because it's just like
it seems fake. I mean,
it just seems fake.
So what do y'all want from these people?
But Henry,
it's not what we want though. It's a bad framing of it, I think.
Henry, you just acknowledged that you definitely peeped like
it's cringe.
Oh no! Look! Yeah. I'm aware of the politics that's about to go on. I guess for me personally, it's just like it's funny because I felt the same way when COVID first started, right? And all of the companies were speaking out against Black lives and trying to support it, donate here, donate there. I'm like, y'all couldn't do that earlier. You know what I'm saying?
I get
but
you.
Hey, I'm not going to complain because you're doing it now. That's what matters. So for me, look, for me, I particularly was complaining about Joe Biden isn't engaging the young people, the people that go vote, whatever. And that, her coming on Verzuz, speaking of over 1.2 million viewers.
But the whole time I just wanted to be like, name 5 songs.
She probably could. That's what I was about to say.
She put money that she couldn't. I would probably
put money that she probably could.
Now y'all really trying to check this lady black card now.
I actually bet money that she probably would be like,
y'all really pulling her black card on this?
It's not. No. That's not a black card. There's some
that is
out here.
Brandy and Monica are one of the most Brandy.
Gun to my head. I couldn't name.
You're from Atlanta, so you have a different connection to Monica than I do.
Yeah, first of all, yeah.
That's why I took Monica out. But Brandy,
because
Brandy was a national star. She had a TV show, a baby doll. She was the only dark-skinned girl wearing braids from the 90s to the 2000s.
Literally, so many people, at least personally on my timeline, was saying. Even before,
they don't have 20 bangers. They don't.
People would say, literally, my friend tweeted, gun to my head, I probably could not name 5 Brandy songs.
I can name 5 Brandy songs. Monica songs, couldn't do.
Yeah, it's not a black card. It's not a black card.
Maybe I just have a different,
They're from the South. Grew up there.
They're from the South. So, old girl from California probably would know. It's fine, whatever.
Right, she is from California, so y'all actually...
No,
actually, let me check. No, I'm just playing. But for real,
I'd put a good amount of money that she could.
I would bet that she could name 5 Brandy songs. But beyond that,
yeah, okay, big on topic.
I'm not mad at them attempting to engage young voters more.
Good.
It might come off a little performative. It might come off a little ingenuine. What she need to do,
I'm just saying a little cringy. That's all.
A little cringy, whatever. I do know that Biden and this protesting and look, if you don't shut the door to me, let me calm down. I'm sorry for viewers. I get a little passionate. Sorry. Biden, he should be talking outside the net, trying to be this white apologist almost, to where I want to fix everything and help everybody. However, you're only speaking directly to that older conservative group when you're talking about certain policies and certain things you're looking to protect. Because right now, 30 and under, I would say, in my opinion, is for in some realm or way is defund the police. It's we want some type of reform there. Passing a law, doing a bill, we want reform totally. So with that being the case and you needing to engage these people and you continuously kind of speaking up the language of continuing to fund the police and, oh, you guys should protest differently, or just little side comments that he's made in the recent last 2 weeks, I'll say, is rubbed me the wrong way. So I would hope that progressive acts that Kamala makes, such as tuning in on Verzuz or chiming in, like constantly wearing Howard gear, so that makes her trend on Twitter because the HBC community is going to talk about her or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Her doing those little things may kind of like, help him out a little bit. I don't know, but it's annoying for him to continue to speak this rhetoric when I know who he needs to engage from my purview, and it's kind of just like,
I'll just say I'm in agreement with Mackenzie. It's helpful. It just can be cringe sometimes. I think it's kind of just like you're just not Michelle, and that's okay. No one is, but there's a different level of just connection. I feel it's just harder to grasp, and I think that's a part of who she is because she is a really smart woman. I don't expect her to connect. It just sometimes you're just kind of like you're going through it, and you're kind of like, ugh.
Literally, I wish there was a camera when I first seen the video. I'm wiping the crust out my eyes. I'm like, oh gosh. It was the Howard shirt for me. I was just like, okay.
All right, so moving on, we'll skip the next topic and get to kind of the most important things. I guess we're on a time limit now. Who knew? So obviously the biggest story in the news now is Kenosha. So on August 23rd, Kenosha police officers were dispatched for a caller who reported that her boyfriend, who was not supposed to be on her premises, was present. Ben Crump, the family attorney, said Blake was attempting to break up a domestic dispute. The local police union claims that Blake was trying to steal a vehicle. Obviously, there's multiple different things going on in just who sees what and what they believe to have happened. After physical confrontation with police, Blake walks toward his car with his back turned to the officers, where he was shot 7 times. He is still in the hospital, but God willing and thankfully he has got out of the intensive care unit, as I think of recently as 2 days ago. What followed was Kyle Rittenhouse, a 17-year-old from Illinois, has been charged with first-degree homicide after killing 2 protesters and injuring a third with an AR-15 rifle. President Trump chimed in on Monday saying, quote, he was trying to get away from them. It looks like, I guess he was in big trouble. He probably would have been killed. And Republicans have since made Rittenhouse a kind of a tragic figure. So I guess what's kind of like y'all's biggest take on everything? Because, I mean, this obviously sparked a lot of stuff. Like this happened at the same time as Henry, as you went to the March on Washington. This was the biggest point. The NBA almost shut down over this. And just there's just kind of been a lot of, it seems like.
Actually, can you, being a sports person amongst us, what did the NBA, like, I understood, well, no, what did the NBA little act do?
I think they were in a tough spot, and I think that they were trying to do 2 things at once. I think they were seriously considering actually just not playing, but then I think they probably thought, and this is me trying to understand their perspective, they're saying if we just stop playing, what does that do for us in terms of, one, financially, because there is a financial decision to them stopping playing, and that's their livelihoods that they have to think about at the same time. But also, they're probably thinking, if we just stop playing and we're no longer on TV, we're no longer getting interviewed where we can then talk about this issue. And we have all of these symbols, and they did get the owners to commit to using every one of their arenas as a polling location and give more money to these causes. So they're probably saying, we are considering walking away, which I think that they generally were, which then got the owners to make more concessions. And they were probably saying, if we just backed out of this entirely, we then no longer have the platform to be able to talk about these issues and bring them to the masses. So I think they were in a tough spot. I wanted them to shut it down, but I can understand why they wouldn't want to, because then all of that ad time, all of that air time, all the post-game interviews, and all of them just wearing stuff that in generally promotes the things that they're, what we're all trying to do, that wouldn't have been a thing. And it wouldn't get news coverage if they just weren't playing. So I think they were trying to debate impact versus platform. And I think they said that the platform that we have to reach the amount of people that we can each and every time is probably worth us still playing. It's a tough decision. I wish they would have not played. I think that would have been more stronger symbolically, but I mean, to each his own. Why? What you think?
Henry got here for it. I thought, to be honest, I really didn't know much about it. What you said makes complete sense to me. Like, I understand, like, it is a tough spot. It like you said, it's a tough spot. I guess it would have been more impactful, I feel like, if they could have really, I mean, let's do a week. Let's sit out a week. Let's do that. Let's.
3 days, just 3 days.
Oh yeah, let's
I just
do
want,
it.
honestly and truly, I didn't expect for it to be like, you know what I'm saying, ongoing.
It
However,
wasn't gonna be because they
Yeah,
want
no,
I
no,
expect the
want to
this is
whole
be
my
done with
thing.
this.
one.
Look, no, hear me out. So, like, to your point of them being able to speak about it and why they even did it or whatever, because I haven't heard anybody kind of clarify on like why we backed out and left out. I just heard drama about LeBron being mad
LeBron,
at,
yeah.
yeah, LeBron being mad at somebody because they did it or something like that. I haven't heard the when, where's, and how, and then Obama. They talked to Obama, something like that. I haven't again heard the wins, where's, the how, the point, none of that. So for me personally, I think, and you could tell it was disorganized, which I mean, okay,
I mean, you're getting
but
250 players to try to, and I think the good
right,
thing,
right, right, right,
right, yeah.
right. So I understand it would have been disorganized. However, maybe that's why LeBron was mad because I did hear that like that's why he walked out of a like interview before
I mean,
that or
a meeting.
something.
I mean, he didn't want to
Right,
play.
a meeting
He said,
or
"Let's stop."
interviews. That's what I'm saying. He was the one that kind of like spearhead the idea, and then the Bucks, Milwaukee Bucks, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the first team to do it, and then he was mad at them for not doing it because they didn't communicate or relay that to everybody else or something like that. That's all I've heard about it.
Yeah,
So
I
for
mean,
me, I think if they kind of like semi organize it to where like, okay, the Bucks do it, the Lakers do it, and maybe like the Clippers and then a bigger team, right? And we just don't play for 3 days, and then we come back, and now we have these interviews and this spotlight of why you didn't do it, and da da da. And they could have still got their coaches to like, be on their side or whatever. To the point to where they could have gained more, to where okay, a lot of y'all have high connections to Donald Trump. If we being real, how many of y'all friends are funding his campaign?
I
Let's
mean, I
be real
think,
here.
and I think that's the thing that I
I
think.
can't hear you.
Can you hear me, Mackenzie? Can you hear me?
I can hear it.
Okay. I mean, I think that's the thing that I think the owners, that the players like LeBron were trying to do, where he was basically saying, like, we're just athletes and we have only a certain amount of reach. But he basically challenged the owners and said, you all know the people who are in power more so than myself. I have a social power. You actually have more financial and political power than me. So what I do like is that they did challenge the owners and say, here we are, we're making you all this money. You all then need to go and do X, Y, and Z, challenge these people who you have direct relationships with. And that's how we actually progress this along, because the difference between,
Where's that story though?
it's been out there.
Like, is that being publicized? Like,
Yeah, if you're like,
like on a like,
if you follow like sports journalists, yeah. And like the nuances
you would
of it are
know.
not, yeah, the nuances of it are not. I mean, I think it's difficult because I think they are athletes, and I think that they are trying to expand their reach, and they can only do it so many ways. And I think that they're trying to push the envelope, and
I
that's
mean,
hard.
I think that goes into like
they
what our old episode. What role do you play? And I feel like they've been really just trying to figure out what role do they play, and they're trying to navigate through
Yeah,
that.
and like I think like I know a lot of people were criticizing him, and I'm like, I can't. It was hard because I wanted them to shut down, but I'm not mad that they didn't. But I can at least say that they are young people who are doing more than people who are directly involved are doing.
right,
And
right, right, right.
to
And
me,
that's what I wanted to clarify
there's a
too.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I acknowledge and I appreciate that they're at least trying to do something, right?
Yeah.
Versus the NFL, they just kind of let Colin Kaepernick hang out to dry, right? So
Or
I
even people
appreciate
in
like the
Congress, they're
collective
not doing
effort.
shit. Like people
Did them
directly
motherfuckers
involved,
on goddamn self recess until when? Like,
we don't know.
but exactly. So you know what I'm saying? I appreciate the effort. I definitely appreciate the effort. It's just like, I guess for me it's frustrating to see, and I hate to say it like this, the theatrics of protest, and then nothing actually really happens in real time. You know what I'm saying? Like Breonna Taylor, police, the people that like killers are still free, but she's on Vanity Fair. Somebody's making a docu series about it, and now we're protesting for Jacob Blake. And then like we had to kind of like give an uproar for this white dude who could walk around with an assault rifle, whatever weapon it was, and kill multiple people, get water and dap up the police. Like,
I
so
mean,
it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating. I'm not saying like I don't appreciate it. It's just frustrating to go